Hello there, it's Andrea Jackson here, and I'm going to talk about stop being scared during an OFSTED inspection. So my name is Andrea Jackson, I'm from Nu-Gnu, and we support training providers to meet OFSTED inspections with confidence. We do this by asking the learners questions based on the education inspection framework and work with the provider to improve the experience of the learner. So that's what we do. On the 18th of January, I spent a day with OFSTED. It was a webinar that was organised by AELP. And it's one of those ones that was obviously a network that you'd have gone somewhere. And I found it was really interesting. But when you have the comfort breaks, you had to go make your own tea and coffee. And I found that was quite strange, because, of course, that would have been the time that you'd have gone out and you'd have had your cup of tea and your biscuit, and you'd have spoken to people. Obviously, that didn't happen in my own home. But again, the information was interesting. I've got my notes here that I'm going to look at just so I don't forget. But I think the statement that meant most to me, and it was from Paul Joyce, who is a HMI Deputy Inspector to Further Education and Skills. And he said, learning is for life, not just an achievement. And you know what? I thought, that is brilliant. That is a fantastic statement of what everybody should be looking for, shouldn't it? Because being an apprentice isn't just about gaining that certificate, but it's the start of a learning experience, isn't it? I don't know about you, but being involved in education since the 90s, I've always been learning, always. There's always something that you don't know. Running a business now from May, I'm amazed at the stuff I don't know, and I learn something else that I didn't know, and I'm having to playing catch up all the time. So for us, I think we are used to being educated all of the time. And that should be the same with the apprentice. It shouldn't be just a qualification that they're gaining at this present moment in time, but it's an achievement for life. So let's keep that in mind. I think the thing that they found more and more, there were things that weren't happening. I mean, the point being is that year on year, there has been a reduction of the number of independent training providers that are getting good or outstanding. That's a year on year. What they do know is that there's an awful lot of new training providers that actually haven't been graded. And so because of that, that's obviously going to bring the grades of the good and outstanding providers. However, there has been a year-on-year reduction. Okay, so there's something we're not doing right. It's said that apprenticeships are the least successful provision in further education, which is quite horrifying, really, isn't it? And that 1 in 10 apprenticeships were inadequate. Now, this is from the OFSTED report of 1920. That's 2019-20. Yeah. We need to unpick that data. So if we look at it, the findings were there was a lack of close work with the employers to develop a well thought out curriculum that works for the apprentice and the employer. We know there's that golden triangle, isn't there? The golden triangle between the learner, the training provider, and the employer, because it has to work for everybody. So the employer is working with the training provider and the learner is working with the employer and the training provider is working with the learner and the employer. Yeah, it's that triangle. Okay, there's also no use of the initial assessment conducted at the start of the program to plan a challenging curriculum. Now, time and time again, we go in and we do an initial assessment, we do a quick skill scan, we do English, maths, and then put it to one side. Actually, it's been found that that's not being used to plan that curriculum. Because if we don't, it really is a waste of time, isn't it? Because the fact is, you will get learners on a program that either they are not stretched and challenged enough, or they're not going to complete. Either way. There's no logical sequence in the curriculum. So actually the learner is going through a journey, and they may need to know one thing, but they haven't learnt it before they do something else. So there's no logical sequence. And again, that's when we speak to the employer and we speak to the learner. There's not enough skills, knowledge, and experience taught. What's happening is that too many times we're looking at their existing skills and just building on their existing skills, not new skills. The whole purpose of an apprenticeship is for people to learn new skills, not build on existing skills. There's no assurance that on and off the job training has been received by the apprentice. What happens is we sometimes put down an hour, 5 hours, 7 hours, whatever. But actually, what does that mean? Does that off and on the job training actually move the training provision? Does it move the knowledge? Does it move the skills forward towards completing the award? Failure to engage employers, we've talked about that. You know, if you don't engage your employers, you are really going to struggle. We know this, don't we? Because so many times we're dealing with employers that really aren't that interested, or they think that they've done their bit. It's a hard slog then, isn't it, to try and get the learner to be motivated when they haven't got that support in the workplace. And a really big need for an individual learning plan. Now more than ever, the individual learning plan will be changing from week to week, sometimes day to day, because of what's happening as we go through the pandemic. Things are changing at a ridiculous pace. We've had to change our delivery. We've had to change how we assess. We have to change how we are checking knowledge has been learned, all of these things. So each time there's a change to that individual learning plan. One thing we know, that we can't just go into an employer and speak to a raft of learners and say, right, you're all going to do this at this level, at this time, unit by unit, because it may not suit that individual learner. So more than ever, we have to be ensuring that it is individual. It's individual to each specific learner. Now, if we can say we do all those things, we will not ever have to worry about an inspector coming in from anywhere, because all Ofsted are saying is that the apprenticeships meet the needs of the learner and the employer. So let's just concentrate on the learner. It meets the needs of the learner so that the learner is learning new skills at a pace that suits them, so that they're stretched and challenged and supported and given that extra support if that is needed. Yeah. The way that they're doing that is they are talking to the learner, which sounds like a remarkably good idea, because if the learner is saying that this is great, this is what I'm learning, this is how we're doing it, I mean, I'm responsible for my learning, I know where I am, why I'm there, and where I should be. And if I'm not where I should be, this is how I'm going to catch up, or this is the support I'm now getting because I'm below where I should be. Yeah, so these are all the sorts of questions that are going to be asked. So as I say, if we do that, if as a training provider you do that, it doesn't matter. You will never, ever lose sleep in an Ofsted inspection, because you will know what your learners are saying. You will know absolutely categorically that your learning is meeting the needs of your learner, that they are happy because you've spoken to them, or you get somebody else in to speak to them and to support you through that process. So thank you so much for everybody that's listened to it live. Really do appreciate it. And also to the ones that are going to be listening to this not live, in the comfort of their own home. I don't know why I keep saying that, because we haven't left. As I say, in your own time. Again, really, really appreciated. If you've seen the live, you've enjoyed what you've heard, or you understand and you agree, please comment. And if you think that somebody else would be interested in this information about Ofsted, about the reporting of Ofsted this year, share it, share the live. But also, if you comment on the lives, that's really great. We love to get comments. So that's all we've got to say this week. We've got some exciting things coming on, as we do every week. We're talking about a newsletter at the moment, which is sort of like we've just started it, but very, very excited about it. But again, like and share this live, which will be fantastic. Comment on it. Absolutely excellent. You can find us on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page, Nu-Gnu at Facebook. We've got a LinkedIn page. Find us on there. Send me a message on LinkedIn. That would be absolutely excellent. I love contacts, new contacts. Absolutely love it. So that's all I need to say. Thank you so much. Again, thank you so much for all the support that we're getting at the moment. We really, really do appreciate it. And we'll see you soon.